Hello, everybody. Welcome to our June 10th webinar. Happy to give you this high-level overview of Mission Control, kind of touching a lot of the pieces I know are very valuable to our current customer base, and speaking to how speaking to a little bit of a good journey, starting from a opportunity, moving all the way into a project where we're logging time, staffing a project, looking at some reports, and all the fun stuff that comes within the world of PSA. My name is Julian. I'm a sales manager here at Mission Control. I also am an account manager for Eastern Time Zone, along with all of Europe. So with that being said, let me share my screen. Before I like to jump into things, I do like to share a quick deck, kind of contextualizing what we'll be seeing today, and having everything make a little bit more sense when we jump into the platform. Um, by the way, if you have any questions, thoughts, ideas, please feel free to shoot them into the chat. I'll try to kind of answer them on the call. I'll be keeping my eye on them. If I don't answer them, I will be reaching out to everyone who was on our list today. So if you have any follow-up questions, I'll definitely be knocking on your door, seeing if I could be helpful in any way, shape, or form. So the high levels. First and foremost, why is it mission control? Why are we a leader in the PSA space? Why do we have such a heavy footprint within the Salesforce ecosystem? First and foremost, we are 100% native to Salesforce, meaning you'll never need to sign into mission control. By signing into Salesforce, you have access to all of our objects and features, where we're one of the same. We're a series of custom objects that live in a Salesforce environment. Think of us as a layer of project management in your environment, where like every data point you'll be seeing today within Mission Control can be reported on within native Salesforce reporting. Everything I'll be showing you today works out of the box, meaning we're a fairly robust solution. 3 major releases a year. We're always growing. We're always trying to address market needs, but we are fairly simple to get stood up, and we're not trying to upsell you on features over time. What I'll be showing you today is our out-of-the-box solution. If I maybe speak to something that requires automation, I'll definitely let you know. But what you'll be seeing today is our out-of-the-box solution. In terms of implementing, getting started, because we're a managed package on the App Exchange, if you just click Get It Now, we're essentially in your environment in like 5, 10 minutes. What implementation is really kind of identifying work. Oh, nope. There we go. Let's go back for a second. Identifying workflows, personas, ideas. Like how do we make everyone's life easier and basically surface the data that's important. We have all the tools and features that you need, and kind of really identifying what's important for individuals, groups, and teams. Either toning down or really kind of elevating experiences is what that implementation process is. We have our own awesome and professional service team. We work with a slew of amazing Mission Control and Salesforce certified partners. And along with that, we have a self-onboarding path, but that's kind of adjacent to an amazing base of collateral built by our success team. So we have just under 700 knowledge base articles, our own proprietary learning portal where you become mission control certified. You could become personal like project management certified or whatever it is. And we have videos, any video that you can imagine, we have in terms of our database. Along with that, we do have global support. So our success teams are based in the US and Australia. So as close as possible to 24-hour support, we do have. In terms of getting started, in terms of our customer reviews, we do our NPS scoring is fairly high, and compared to I guess our worthy rivals. In terms of getting started, average time to go live, it really depends. It's all case by case, but we do see most of our customers are live within the first 4 weeks, that first month of being Mission Control users. So that speaks to kind of say the easy use and how out of the box we are. In terms of how do we support you, and like what is a sales cycle with Mission Control? First and foremost, we have to identify is there a fit? We're not trying to work with everyone and anyone and everyone. If there is a fit, through our discovery and our kind of initial are we a fit call, we will then kind of go into a product evaluation phase, really focusing on your needs, your requirements, your pains. and really kind of demonstrating through a personalized view. At which point, kind of next steps from there would be discussing onboarding strategies of the few channels I mentioned earlier, and really kind of then going, then kind of having that seamless kind of transition from pre-sales to onboarding, where we kind of share what our expectations and what the realities are for the first 90 days. Along after that, we do have ongoing support in terms of we have like webinars, we have user groups, we have office hours, really kind of making sure you have the right resources from our team at the right time. In terms of features and functionalities, like what we are is a PSA, really marries three ideas together: project management, resource management, and time. Now, we are a little bit more robust than just that. We do kind of, let's say, focus on the program portfolio management. We have a whole bunch of collaboration tools, which I'll be speaking to today. But what the beauty about Mission Control is also it's fairly modular. So if there's bits and pieces here that aren't important for you day one out of the gate, not a problem. Basically, it's easy to hide them and allows you to kind of scale with the solution over time. In terms of our history of Mission Control, I guess just kind of a quick little blurb here. We've been on the App Exchange for 15 years. Our CTO and our CEO are the actual founders, meaning no part of our solution has ever been acquired. Um, which also lends itself to there's a lot of continuity within the interfaces. So it's pretty quick and easy to get up and running. We use this solution to run our full business from product development to our professional service teams. I use this on the sales side, kind of let's say when I close win deals, automated tasks get launched to me to make sure nothing falls between the cracks. Even like control processes, onboarding employees, offboarding employees, everything you can imagine is a project, and we do manage them within Mission Control, and we're more than happy to share how ourselves or maybe customers like yourselves are leveraging the solution. In terms of logos we work with, we do work with a slew of industry leaders. I'm sure there's a few logos here that might be familiar. There's a few spaces, a few verticals that we are seeing a uptick in. But realistically, we're a fairly flexible solution, and I haven't really seen any space that is a hard no that we can't help. In terms of what's next, I'm going to jump into the platform and start showing off what we got to show. So let me close this, exit that, don't save this, jump into here, and we are there. So let me share my screen again. Cool, awesome. So this is Mission Control. It might look familiar because this is Salesforce. It's built one and the same. We're a series of custom objects that live in the Salesforce environment where we seamlessly interact with Salesforce objects. Like you see over here, this is a dashboard, but on this dashboard, there's reports that's leveraging Mission Control data points. So these reports were built through native Salesforce reporting, but just we add that kind of a layer of project management to your reporting capabilities. Also, you can see on this bar on top there are some core Salesforce functionality like dashboards, home, accounts, contacts, opportunities, leads. And then you start to see some mission control objects like projects, timesheet, scheduler, Gantt chart, meeting manager, and all of this fun stuff down here. Now, the idea is not everyone needs access to everything. It's very easy to create personas, permissions, the same permission sets, permission groups you could set up with Salesforce. You're able to kind of build that infinite kind of say those. You can build those silos if needed within mission control. Where let's say an end user's experience might be closer to something like this, where you just have access to maybe projects, actions, dashboards, a Kanban board, and a Gantt chart. Really kind of tailoring and focusing that experience for those specific individuals. So what I will do today is I'm going to create an opportunity, kind of show you that handshake, how we could automate a project from an opportunity into a project. Jumping further into it, I'm going to be showing you kind of how to staff a project, going through different views of a project, let's say Kanban board, Gantt chart, risks, issues, all that fun stuff. And then going into some more high-level views, collaboration tools, and just some other funky tools that I think I do get a lot of positive feedback on when I do share them or when I hear about it, when a new customer is kind of really leveraging them. But before that, let me do a quick fundamentals here because you're going to be seeing a lot of role, like let's get to resource data. Where does that resource data come from? and how are we able to leverage it. So I'm jumping into my own role record right now. What is a role? A role is an individual, someone who's assigned to projects, has some data behind themselves. Like as an individual role, you don't necessarily need access to this. Let's say as myself, I don't even have access to my own role record in my own mission control because that's more on the executive side. But you are able to open it up, as I mentioned, like with unlimited like sets of permissions. So let's jump into my own role record here. So you can see my name is Julian. I am a project manager. I work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, which rolls up to 40 hours. I have a target for 80%. Um, why this is important and why I'm talking about this now is that there are going to be later views where I might be in the green, I might be in the red, I might be in the yellow. That's all based on my own target. So if you do have, let's say, externals or part-time workers or people who have different targets, their green, their red, their yellow will be very different than my own. Um, I have my own cost rate, I have my own bill rate on like you don't not everything needs to be billable, not everything needs to be non-billable. You can kind of say remove the billable aspect of it, but we are PSA, so we do have deep financials if you're looking for that. But let's say on a project, you could use rate card, you could do a role-based costing or skill-based billing. We're very flexible on that front. I've been here for a couple of years now. I have yet to come across a billing mechanism that we aren't able to support out of the box. Kind of all this information, there's a certain level of configuration that can be done directly within Mission Control. Basically, not requiring to go into let's say back end of Salesforce. So the reason why I'm even opening this up right now because I do know I closed some of the tabs on the project earlier for another demo I was doing, and I want to make sure we have visibility on. No, everything I want is there. So that there is a certain level of configuration that can be done directly with emission control without needing to go into any sort of permission or um, backend settings. But so before I jump into the project, the one thing I really want to show you on, let's say, the role-based side is the related records. So what you could also relate to a role is individuals could be assigned skills. Skills could be a certification, could be a language, could be there are no limitations kind of what a skill is. And you are also able to qualify a skill with proficiency and enjoyment factor. You could also be part of multiple teams, individual teams, however you want to set these teams. Teams could be geographic location, could be seniority. There's no real limit here. But where this is helpful is when you are staffing a project, when you are looking at your bench today or 6 months in the future, you are able to filter by skill, team, and even capacity, which we'll see later on, and make an informed decision on who might be the best fit for a role, or do we have enough? Is there enough effort on the bench, or is there enough capacity to run a project that's, let's say, almost closed? And lastly, we have our own holiday object or feature. The reason why I'm mentioning this is that holidays and capacity are intimately connected. So having the ability to log time off and have that reflect your calendar is something we can do in Mission Control. Now, this what I'm gonna say here is basically a lot of times that you might say, "Hey, Julian, I use an external holiday system or HR solution," but that's our source of truth. How do we make them communicate? If anything's in Salesforce, it's just relate the records, super easy. If anything's outside of Salesforce, because Mission Control is native to Salesforce, we leverage the Salesforce API. So think of Mission Control and even our data model. Think of us as like the Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, or whatever, or any other native Salesforce cloud that if you're looking to push and pull information, basically leveraging the Salesforce API or existing middleware is the best route to go. Super easy, and thankfully for us, um, the Salesforce API is the most robust on the software marketplace. So, with that being said, let's jump into creating a project. I'm going to be kind of automating some stuff here, but not everything needs to be automated. Not everything needs to be related to an opportunity. You are able to create an ad hoc project on the go. It's super easy. You could clone existing projects and kind of get them up and running within minutes. But let's jump into the fun stuff here. Let me create a new Salesforce opportunity. Something. Let's go webinar demo 10. Let's just relate this to Vandal Industries. They do importing and exporting. Seinfeld joke there. Prospecting and $5,000 amount. So this is a standard Salesforce opportunity, nothing really special in terms of the mission control side, other than we have some related objects. So obviously in your Salesforce environment, you have your own opportunity status names, you have your own fields here. Field can push from the opportunity to the project. It's very easy. You could use this kind of as a gathering data here, or let's say you might even have some validation rules to make sure you cannot go to a project before certain statuses are achieved or whatever. So this is the beauty of Salesforce. But let's say the beauty of Mission Control is really kind of being able to launch a project from an opportunity status. Typically, close one doesn't need to be close one, but just kind of let's say showing you that handshake here. So there's many ways for us to actually do this. One popular way that I often see is if you leverage, let's say, SKUs in Salesforce or CPQ products or just products themselves, you are able to match project templates or like milestone templates, however you want to see it, to those products or SKUs or CPQ products. And by building, let's say, by adding multiple products to an opportunity, you are able to build a modular project. You might even say, hey, Julian, I have four products. I want them to be four separate projects. Totally fine as well. It's really this easy configuration on our side. What I'm going to do today is kind of keep it as simple as possible. You might even say, hey, look, I have an opportunity. I want to use this one template for the opportunity. I want to keep it. I just want it, and I want that opportunity to, I want the project to be generated on a status change. By moving this to close one. So in my environment, by moving this to close one, it's going to generate a project. Like I said, it doesn't need to be close one. You might want to generate your project at an earlier stage, keep it as a planned project. Just to let you know. And also, I'm not going to go too much into this right now, but there is a whole forecasting element to this here, where you are able to even forecast resources at opportunities at different probability percentage. So let's say if you are at an opportunity that's like 80% and you want to look at your bench that includes all active projects and let's say 80% and above opportunities, there are mechanisms here for us to like forecast roles in the future, which kind of acts as a soft booking mechanism, but it also gives that visibility into the future. So, as I mentioned, what I'm going to be doing now is launching a project by an opportunity status change. So by moving this to, nope, don't want to open up a dictionary. By moving this to closed one, you will see a project will be generated. So in terms of these projects, they can be as granular and detailed as you need them to be, or as high level and bucket like. You might just need a project to be, hey, look, I need a consultant, a developer, and a project manager to log time to buckets and to just be horizontal projects. Or you might say, hey, I have an existing backlog that always exists in projects, and I need that backlog to be kind of launched into sprints, and then even having a waterfall project within it. We're very flexible. It's an easy solution to kind of match whatever style projects you're running. So to jump into the actual project right now, and even maybe to speak to the hierarchy that we allow for in mission control, there is a seven-layer project structure at with in mission control. So two layers above the project is so the highest level is portfolio management. Under portfolio, we have programs. Under a program, we have projects like you can see over here. Under a project, we could have phases. Under a phase, we could have milestones. Under a milestone, you could have actions. And under an action, you could even have checklist items. You don't need to use every one of these layers, but they are there for you to use if you'd like to use them. All these columns are configurable. You see start date. What came in through the template are start date and end dates with an estimated amount of hours. You don't need to be that granular, but just showing you kind of what the system can do. And you can also see that we have some placeholder resources assigned to actions, which so lets me know that, hey, I need a certain individual with a certain skill set to take over this role, which helps me when I'm trying to staff this project later down the road. But before I go into staffing and the time element here, there are different ways for us to actually look and consume this project information. Um, so let's say if and this is all one solution. So any action taken on the whiteboard on the overview will affect the whiteboard, will affect the Gantt chart, risks, issues, and all that jazz. Um, So let's say if I'm curious, that's right now I have all this project information, but like it's pretty one-dimensional. Although the information is there, it's really kind of hard to understand timelines, which is why we have our Gantt chart over here. A really easy way to consume timelines and really better understand dependent actions and all that fun jazz. So you can see over here, even let's speak to the hierarchy that I spoke to earlier. We have our project. Under our project, we have our phases. Under our phases, we have our milestones. Under those milestones, we have actions. And under these actions, we even have checklist items. If I go a little bit closer into it, what we can see over here is basically we have our timelines. We also have we can see we have visibility on our baselines. And let's just say this functional configuration were to push out. I want to look at it like maybe on like a daily view over here. Client testing got pushed out to the 6th. Everything else got pushed out in accordance because we have these dependent actions or dependent milestones. And to build the dependencies is literally just dragging and dropping, super easy. I've never seen an easier version of this. And even you could even double click into them and create leads or lags as required. And you could also and every point here is report you could report on. So even the variance between the baseline and the actuals, everything could be reported on here. You could also export this via PNG, CSV, PDF. You could import JSON projects. So there's ways to kind of, let's say if you're importing a whole bunch of projects, it's super easy to kind of bring in projects rather than manually create them each time. And even in terms of how you share this data, how could you kind of express this externally? In terms of collaboration tools, we have something called the status report. So creating a status report per project could take hours, a week, a month, really kind of drain, and depending on the volume of projects, could be draining on your project managers. So something we have are these easy to manipulate, easy to use, easy to kind of play around with project status reports at the click of a button or through, let's say, subscribing to it or whatever you need. It generates a PDF. So I have one that I've already generated earlier. Um, Let me just super zoomed in, so I'm gonna zoom out. This is a full-fledged one that has our full, essentially every bell and whistle that you want to have within a status report. Obviously, look, you could reduce it, you could play around with it as needed. It doesn't need to be this elaborate, but just to show you that there's a kind of a cover page that could have double branding, your logo and your customer's logo. You are able to have a health check here. So the health check could be automated with AIs because we do have our own AI plugin on the Agent Exchange, or this could be generated at the click of a button, or you can manually do this. You also have visibility into a project summary, what's been completed, what's overdue. You can even get a little more granular and you can even play around with, let's say if you don't want to show checklist items or you don't want to show the owner, there's ways to play around with this. Going a little bit further into it, you could show off your Gantt chart, show time logs, risks, issues, budget, and all the fun stuff that might be important for you. Like I said, you don't need to show every bit of this, but it can be helpful if you do want to show it. Um, another collaboration tool that we have is basically a client read-only page. So before I do this, so if you're familiar with Salesforce Experience Cloud or communities, everything here can be expressed in the community. So if you're looking to have that customer portal, it exists, very easy to set up, and basically we're aligned with the same functionality as like the community Experience Cloud. But if you want to have just a read-only page for your client that exists within I'd say a unique URL. So there's non-credentialed. You can pick and choose which tools that you want to show off in this. But by clicking into this, basically this is a URL you are able to generate that's going to show you into a project if needed. It's not opening here. There we go. So basically, this is a unique URL that's going to show you into, let's say, I've selected that I want to share a Gantt chart, I want to share risks, I want to share issues. It could be white labeled to your needs. And this is a real-time visibility into a project's timeline. So if you're looking to share one link with your customer that's going to kind of follow them throughout the project lifecycle, this would be your link. There's no cost. Well, you need to get one license for your whole org would allow for this because there's some sort of to build a site. Long story, but it's super cost effective to have essentially unlimited visibility into all your projects and for your customers. Now, going back into our project I was sharing earlier, I was kind of playing around with the Gantt chart over here. You might have individuals who are, okay, look, Timelines are great, but I really want to know statuses. I'm a Kanban person. How do we get that functionality? So we do have a Kanban board, which we call the whiteboard at the project level. You're able to really move around cards as required. You could filter, let's say, by different teams, different individuals. You could look into, let's say, what are priority actions, who's working on what are the actions under a milestone. Really be able to kind of say, play around with this. Imagine maybe even if it's a backlog and different sprints, you could kind of just quarterback your actions to different sprints. I'll be discussing billing in a bit. We also have risks and issues. The language you use here are risks are things that can happen, and issues are things that are happening. You could also qualify your risks and issues. So, well, it's basically a risk over here. You see, you give the owner. I can assign the risk to an action or milestone. I can exclude it from the read-only page. So there's a easy way to kind of say express these. And you could also provide assessments and qualify your risk. Now, you can see over here that there's some countermeasures. Now, let's say worst case scenario, this risk becomes an issue. What we are able to do is promote the risk to an issue. So essentially what it does is move the risk from a risk log to an issue log. Now, so something I said earlier, is every data point here can be reported on. So a cool report I saw is the ability to, let's say, an executive wants to see every live issue. So on his homepage, you could have a report that shows all live issues, who the issue owner is, how many days the issue has been alive for, what project they're assigned to, and also what are like a free text field, what are the next steps, giving you visibility into all those issues, which kind of could play into success for individuals, roles, teams, or even like organization as a whole. Now, jumping back into my project over here, you see we are able to log expenses at a project level. We could have purchase orders, log the expenses. Even within the project, individual actions could have material costs. So different mechanisms to kind of play around with project costing, project billing, which leads me to my next thing. How do we bill? How do we make money off a project? So if I go into the edit field over here. Again, something I mentioned earlier, I've come across, and let's say some pretty left field like requirements. One thing I've never come across is a billing mechanism we weren't able to catch with our out of the box functionality. So in terms of billing types, we have fixed fee, fixed price plus expenses, time and material, controlled on milestones, deposit to T&M, and retainer. You can also see there's multiple different types of billing types or cost rates, or you can really play around with this to make sure you are billing how required. And so look, Mission Control is not an ERP. We are not a general ledger, but what Mission Control can do is generate a lot of interesting billing information. So just to kind of show you how the mechanism works, and this is true to, let's say, time and material or whatever it is, whenever some event happens, either if it's, hey, we want to bill every month, or we want to bill on every milestone. What's going to happen is by completing whatever event needs to happen. So I'm going to be completing this billable milestone, which is associated to $5,000. So I'm going to be completing. You could complete this by an Kanban board or whatever it is. By completing this here, I'm going to jump back into my demo, and I'm going to go into my billing tab. And what you'll see is that a billing event has been created. Like I said, you don't necessarily need to leverage the system this way, but if you are looking to kind of create billing events and have them pushed to your ledger or even invoice directly from here, that is possible, and we have all the information for you to use. Now, going back into my project, and just maybe one last time jumping into my kind of a little bit more project with a little bit more data in it. Going into my insights over here, just want to show you some of the out-of-the-box reporting at the project level, showing you total budget, completed action, overdue actions. I think typically there's a better burn down here. But you can see if you're on the two indexes here, seeing if you're on time and on budget, risk matrix, and a lot of the billable hour expense and the other sets of information. So we have all of this out of the box, and this is separate from native Salesforce reporting. Now, jumping into my original project, the question is, how do we staff? How do I put named users onto a project? So there's a few different flows here. One of them, so let's say if you tell me, hey, Julian, I want everything to be automated. I don't want to do anything myself. We have an auto assignment wizard, which will fully automate a project based on different weighting elements. Could be proficiency, capacity, skill, whatever it is. We have a slew of them. And it's going to make an informed decision on who might be the best, or even kind of give you like essentially it makes a suggestion and you choose a suggestion. So this could be done from the opportunities. Kind of your project could be already staffed at whenever the kind of let's say is automated. You might also want to, let's say, use a standard resource request flow, which we have. So let's say if you have a resource manager who's going to be going through a body of requests, we have that flow as well. But we also have something called the resource assignment wizard. So basically, by clicking into this resource assignment wizard, it's going to look into different teams, different skills, whatever it is, and you can make an informed decision on who might be the best fit for a role. So jumping into, let's say I see I'm looking into consultants right now, but let's say I even tell myself, hey, no, I'd much rather look into a team of project managers. By doing this, I'm going to see who's working on what and make an informed decision accordingly. So you can see well, Colin who's working 8,000 hours a week, which makes sense because Colin is our CEO. But you can see over here, let's say Anna, she's in the yellow, she's working 22 hours a week, or you can see, let's say, someone or different individuals working different amounts. So I see Jason doesn't have many hours. So to put Jason on the project, I could just drag and drop him over here, and I can even add multiple contributors to this. And contributors are essentially are multiple people assigned to an individual action. You don't necessarily need to have contributors, or you don't necessarily even need to split up the hours. Let's say I want to give myself 1 hour here. You'll see, well, typically you'll see the 4 hours would jump to three. Um, Now, kind of let's say we've gone ahead and we've staffed the project. In terms of let's get in terms of the staffing and resourcing side, we have an amazing tool called the scheduler. The scheduler, think of it like a resource planner meets a Gantt chart, where there's different views in it that could be helpful for different individuals, different teams, and really kind of I just been excited to show this off right here. So you see, let's say on the hours total, you see different individuals who how much they're working individual week, and I want to see, let's say, what they're actually working on. But where this gets, and you can even filter by different groups, individuals, teams, really slice and dice as required, and even have them set up as presets. Going into the actions here, this is where it gets kind of fun. This is where you could drag and drop actions between individuals. You could see if someone's out of office. Let's say I know Anna is working on this big bang project, but I need to move it to Alana on the week of the 21st. I could just drag and drop it over here, and you can see it did affect her location and utilization. So this tool, I don't suggest giving access to everyone, but it's a great way to kind of play around with schedules and give you full control of your bench and looking at it within different date ranges. I could look at it up to 52 weeks. It might be a bit condensed, but also looking at it in month, weeks, and days. Really great way to kind of see filter and understand who's working on what when. Now we also have a standard resource planner. I'm not going to jump into that because basically it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'd be happy to jump into it if someone were to have any specific questions on another date and time. But going into a little bit more global views here, we have our Gantt chart, which is a global Gantt chart. Think of this as a Gantt of Gantt. I have my whole organization where I could look at it within one Gantt chart, and really kind of even slice and dice. If I want to filter between different individuals, different groups, I'd be able to do it directly through my Gantt chart over here. Let me just open this up over here. So basically, even like something that's even specific that we can do in mission control, and I know it's not common. I know it's not common within just project account. Let's just go back. Let's load line the projects. I know something that's not common is being able to. That's not fun. Being able to. I can do this at the program level. New filter. I've been playing around with this environment a bit recently. So I know something that even let's say going a little bit going down from the global level, and looking at it from the looking at it from a program level, so the level above a project is basically a group of projects and having that same similar view on the global level, but this is just more on a program level where you can select a group of projects, have reporting on that group of projects, and even let's say have that Gantt reporting here at the project level. So something you could do is even build um, build dependencies between separate projects. Inter-project dependency is a thing I know is not common, and not everyone needs access to this, but it is kind of cool when I do see there is that kind of say that strong requirement here. So let's say building this third-party apps to this project and kind of have them be dependent on each other is way to kind of connect two separate projects. In terms of these more global views, we also have a global whiteboard, which basically you could filter between different individuals, groups, and teams. Let's say if I want to look at my team of developers and really understand what they are working on, teams, and you could set up multiple filters here. So looking at my team of developers, understanding what they're working on, there's like obviously no priority actions is, let's say what's on hold, what's completed, what's submitted. I could even move stuff over. Great way to kind of really understand from like an action level who's working on what. I've seen executives really appreciate these boards. Um, and now above, like separate from these global views, I think something the last thing I really want to show here is how to log time. Now, going back into my webinar project from today, right over here. So we've staffed the project. We saw different views of the project. How do we essentially log time to a project or complete actions in like a different structure? One way, so there's multiple ways here. Something we are able to do is log time directly at the action level. So anywhere in Mission Control where you see this hour face, even if it's at the project, at the action level, at the project level, um, on an action pad, which is like a glorified list view, you are able to log time, qualify your time log. You could use like a stopwatch functionality, qualify your time log. You could force notes. You could you have your, let's say, material costs, and really kind of have like that more 360 view of what a time log is. You can even remove elements here. It's not everything here is necessary. Even let's say above and beyond when you're in the project, you always have this global action button. So no matter where you are in Salesforce, you are always able to log time directly through this global action button. Now, as much as we like these cool and innovative ways to log time, what I've seen is that most firms will just use their timesheet. Your hours you've been scheduled to will get pushed to your timesheet. So you see, let's say if I'm working on this big bang, let's go last week actually. You'll see that I think there's a couple of projects I'm working on. You see even the amount of hours I've been assigned to within these projects. And let's say let's say I want to do, hey, I've done my 4 hours on this today, double click into it. I can say, hey, I worked on X, Y, Z, and then you could log that time directly and you see it gets pushed down to your total billable. Even within your timesheet, even within the project, like you could have billable, non-billable. You got projects could be billable or non-billable. Actions within a project, actions within a billable project or non-billable project can be billable. Um, you could even have like the evergreen, let's say, action within your organization. It could be like admin training, whatever it is. So you could have that like full 360 view of what everyone is working on and when. Um, Even something cool is that we have, let's say we have pull processes, but even a calendar converter. So let's say if you are a Google shop or a Microsoft shop with your Outlook, you are able to push events like Salesforce events from your calendar to your timesheet just by kind of the type of event. So let's say if you're picking your kid up at 4 p.m., that won't push to your timesheet. But let's say if you could identify what type of event gets pushed to a timesheet. So there are a slew of more features, functionalities. I could talk about this for hours, which I would love to talk about it with anybody on the call. Um, but I just want to kind of really focus on a high level overview of mission control and kind of kind of to show what we can do. And if there's any bit of information here that maybe you feel wasn't complete, please reach out. We're more than happy to kind of give you the information that kind of would answer all your questions. But along with all that, we do have something else that can answer a lot of your questions. Is our support area. This is as a salesperson working for mission control, our collateral is fantastic. We have like amazing amount of videos that you can imagine. Like any process, anything I've shown you today, we have training videos on them. We have just under 700 knowledge base articles specific to any object feature in mission control. We have a user guide. We have a quick start guide. And you don't even need to be a mission control user. If you're looking to create a case, you could just create your case over here. You'll typically get a response within 4 hours. We also have, let's say, campfires, amazing content online. We're always launching from our um, from our success team. I think even today, oh, no, it just yeah, today or yesterday, we had something on our ratio matrix. We always have the amazing content being spit out, a little bit more process oriented. Even we have some playbooks. If you're looking to kind of say, look over, go over data migration, launch your first project. We have amazing collateral for you to leverage. Please leverage our sales team. So everyone on the sales team acts as a sales engineer. We act as an account executive. Once account is closed, we become your account manager. We really want to be with you for that full 360 experience using Mission Control. So with that being said, I want to take maybe a step back here. Thank you for your time today. Please feel free to reach out to myself, anybody on the Salesforce, anybody on the Mission Control team. We're more than happy to help you out wherever you are, whenever you are, and make sure you get the most value from your Salesforce system. Really kind of helping you go from lead to cash, all within Salesforce. With that being said, this is me signing off, and hope to hear from you guys soon. Cheers. Bye bye.